Alrighty. Let's see. Let's see. Where have you been all my life? All right. I have video. I need to check to see if I have audio. I do have audio. Hello, everyone. Let's see. What do we have on today's agenda? Oh, let's see. We got some shocking T-Mobile news. Didn't see. I kind of can see where this was going, but I'll elaborate more on it. Solar power, Apple gaming, Redbox, the FCC, the streaming wars are heating up. Toyota doubling down on their old technology, and McDonald's. How do you say, good man, McDonald's and technology? Yes, McDonald's and technology, they intersect. All right, so what do we have? What do we have? First, I want to say thank y'all for watching. When you come in, please like, share, and subscribe to the video so we can, boost this channel up. I'm trying to take off. Ways to contact the channel. I'm still working on direct contact. Um, One of the slick ways I'm trying to do it is through the Google Meet itself. I'm still testing it, so I need to do a little bit more testing directly because that's the reason why I like using Google Meet. I can invite people directly to the chat. So that is what I'm working on right now. That's going to be through the monetization through super chats. So now there's officially going to be three ways. I'm still working on the first way, which I'm about to say. The first way is really the free way, and that is through Twitter/X. So submitting articles, tagging, someone tagging the channel and me to to your article. That way that I can present it for people to see, give you credit. You know, if especially if it's something compelling, a brain scratcher, things like that. So like I know that I don't have access to all the news, but the news I do come by, I'm trying to you know read it all if I can. Number two, the second way is through memberships. So if you want to be a member, join the member community. You get the chance to see the behind the scenes. Submit your own articles, subjects you want to elaborate on, talk about, seen on the channel be talk about. That's something that I'm offering for members only, and then the higher tier members have more influence on the channel. The third way, which got brought up to me, is going to be through super chats. I have not nailed down how much I want to charge for that yet. I'm still floating some ideas, but basically, the long and short of it is going to be through super chats and super stickers. So, depending on how much you want to, how much I decide to end up being, then I would, you would probably put in the super chat, super sticker, or super whatever, hey, I want to say something, and it will be that exact dollar amount. And then you would have to probably email me. That way I can send you the link to the chat room to be able to talk for, depending on how much the value is, how much you end up having a chance to talk. I'm thinking somewhere along the lines of like, if you want to speak for a moment, it's probably going to be like maybe $10 or $15. You want to stay on the panel for that single story, probably be like 30. And then if you want to be on the podcast totally, it's 60. So it's going to be 15, 30, 60, like that. So depending on how long the podcast go, it's completely like for the whole duration. If you want to go ahead and just get started, you don't even care what stories I talk about, you're on and have a chance to comment on all the stories. It'll be 60. Um, One story, that especially if something like you really want me to talk about and you really want to say your thought and your piece on, be 30. And then just want to be able to just comment and say something in your own words. I'm not a big typer. That's me. I would say it's probably about 15, but I'm still rolling around in my head about how much I want to actually end up doing. But those are the ways to get in contact with the show. So let's go with the first story. McDonald's. So we all have had an ice cream craving from time to time. Who hasn't? And what is McDonald's known for? Their ice cream machine not working. The dreaded it's out of service. Well, now technology has come to the rescue. So let's get this pulled up. So McDonald's has decided, McDonald's hasn't decided this. McDonald's restaurants can finally repair their own machines. I don't think a lot of people quite understand what was going on and why McDonald's machines were down all the time. There's only the long and short of it basically is the companies that provide ice cream machines to restaurant franchises all have are under contract to only get it fixed by said one contractor. Where that's very stupid to do, but it's all about putting money in somebody else's pockets. That's basically all it is they don't really care about uptime or downtime. It just funnels money to somebody else, and then they are the ones that have to service it, which is a very stupid idea. You would want people to feel like, hey, I want to order this from you, or I want to buy said things from you, and you have it available. Where it became a running meme, a terrible running meme, was McDonald's machines will be down, and people will be like, how typical. Even so much so that corporate McDonald's made fun of it of themselves. So this year, between iFixit and a couple other entities, they have gone back to Congress and got the U.S. Copyright Office to approve a third-party repair exemption for McDonald's ice cream machines. So your delicious treat might have a higher uptime than it normally has. Now, digging deeper, basically the long and short of it is copyright. All these companies copyright everything. They don't want nobody to infringe on their ability to make money, and rightfully so. But McDonald's didn't do them any favors by having a machine that's inside of their stores that always breaks. Maybe another company might have something better, but they can't use it because McDonald's want them to use that one company. And that one company doesn't want anybody touching said machine because they want to fix it themselves, which costs an arm and a leg. Now, iFixit talks about this on their website, so I recommend you watch it. It's a very good, interesting watch. But basically, a lot of this stems from the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, the DMCA. So basically, you probably heard that, like John Deere doesn't want anybody working on their tractors, even though you buy your tractor from John Deere. Seems kind of weird that you buy something, but it's not really yours. You can't get it fixed, but you paid money for it. What you are you? Is this just a lease at this point? Because if that's so, you should give me a better deal, kind of like how you get deals on phones. Hey, I upgrade my phone every year. You should be giving me thousands of dollars off said ice cream machine every time this one starts acting faulty. That's how I kind of look at it. But the DIY group, Fix It, is allowed the McDonald's franchise owners to hire a third party to repair ice cream machines. So this is how it's becoming a bigger deal due to the fact that you want to be able to have everybody be kind of happy, and the franchises want their machines up and running. Who would not want their machines up and running? That seems kind of a weird take on it, but the current status does not allow for swifter service. You gotta submit to corporate. Corporate gotta call the corporate office of another company, and then they'll dispatch somebody out to your location to fix said my ice cream machine. Don't let them be backed up. Then all of a sudden, now you're waiting for your ice cream machine to be fixed, along with maybe 34 others in your own area. Because we all know that McDonald's compacts their franchises pretty close together too. So what happens when a whole area goes down? But I'm glad to see that action has been taken. Uh, like it or not, the current administration has a thing about ice cream, which I think that this is probably one of the reasons why they prioritize this a lot faster. Maybe when the president rolled up and they told him the ice cream machine was broken, he decreed this to be a problem. But this article is on Engadget. So rejoice, people. The McFlurry might be more reliable than ever. All right, so moving on from ice cream and moving towards Toyota. So I'm a Toyota fan. I don't know if anybody quite understands how much I love Toyotas. The problem is Toyota is being very stubborn in their old age, and they're not really innovating as much as they used to. They are very stubborn, stubborn soul. So they're betting a lot on hydrogen. Now, I believe that we need the all the above approach when it comes to, fuels, new fuels, think cleaner fuels. But Toyota is like a dog that can't let go of the bone. From my point of view, anyway, where the industry is moving towards EVs, they're trying to figure out a way to stick the hydrogen part of the EV. You know, battery tech is is increasing in range. I just saw a video today talking about the Chevy Silverado EV, and that vehicle gets like 410 miles to a charge. And I'm to the place where charging my car really doesn't bother me. There's times where I really need to be like do something real quick. I'm at that point now, kind of like I don't really need to move that fast. I need to plan better. So with that being said, how much if this technology is going to be feasible We don't know yet. Now, Toyota in this article is talking about swapping hydrogen fuel cells out at like with like pit stops. So we're talking about like instead of rolling up and filling up your container in your car, you just eject the container and put a new container in. So let's go with the problem of standards. So the problem with technologies is Toyota's idea is not going to be the same as GM or BMW or any other company that decides to want to get into that space. It comes down to market share and how much market dominance you have. Case in point, we just now finally standardized the charging plug for America. Finally. Keep this in mind, it's been 15 years since we had electric cars on the market. We just now finally standardized the plug because there was different plugs for different cars all over the place. One company made their own plug, another company made their own plug, and if you didn't have an adapter, you had to buy an adapter that plugged in for another plug from another plug down the street. It's stupid. So, with that being said, Toyota wants to ingeniously create cells that you plug into your car, which hydrogen is not so much of a bad idea. The problem is it takes energy to make hydrogen. So it's kind of like, well, why don't you just give me a battery pack that I plug in that's portable, and then bam, I can juice up that way. But that's kind of what hydrogen is. It's supposed to be lighter and quicker. But we have it. But the problem is it's such a light element that it actually evaporates through containers that you put it in, which that is a engineering problem that you have to engineer around, which means you got to make containers that can hold the hydrogen inside of whatever container you put it in. You got to make it, you got to transport it, you got to deliver it. So the infrastructure, if you think the infrastructure for electric vehicles was going to be hard, imagine what it's going to be for hydrogen. You're going to have a lot of gas stations co-opting this technology, and it's not even close to being finalized for reliability yet. So I'm of the notion that maybe Toyota is too far ahead in the future. They probably got a lot of patents that they want to start flexing on to give them the edge. That's kind of what I'm thinking, that's what they're working towards. So I'm not quite sure where other people might stand on this. I'm just of the notion that it's a whole lot better to go ahead and just unlock the capabilities of charging your car instead of trying to find a workaround for proprietary technologies that other people kind of want to start flexing on. Toyota, I love you, but maybe your time in the limelight might be dying. Let's see. All right, so the next story is of Hollywood. So we all can relate to this. I hope I don't run out of tokens for reopening this up again. Okay, I didn't. Come on. This is from Forbes. Why streaming content will be Hollywood's final act. So, if you are a person who has one of the major streaming apps, congratulations, you are part of the future. I have probably like 4 of them, and I need to get rid of some of them. So basically, the streaming services are the gatekeepers now. And Hollywood is not going to look so hot underneath the current way that things are kind of going down. So, as a person who's trying to always try new things and everything, I jumped on the, Netflix train pretty fast, right? I tried the DVDs. I tried out the, streaming services on my phone, at the early days of 3G into 4G when, Sprint had WiMAX and I had to sit still in one area just to be able to watch some old TV shows that Netflix had. But now you welcome to, 2024, almost 2025, and we have seen the content wars go crazy. YouTube TV, YouTube itself has grown exponentially. Netflix is a behemoth. Disney Plus is a chameleon, which they jumped up and came out of nowhere at the last moment, and then consumed Hulu. So now Hulu and Disney Plus are one entity. So there's been a lot of moving around, and for the most part, it's been good for the consumer to a point. But now Hollywood is not gonna fare very well with streaming services being at the forefront. Preferably, it's about the money. It's always about the money, people. Don't ever get twisted. It's about the money. You know, the people who act in some of your favorite TV shows, some of your favorite movies, they underneath the streaming model, they're not getting paid as much, which causes problems. And which means that some TV shows are not going to be staying around very long. One of the biggest ones that bothered me of late was on Disney Plus, and I'm a Star Wars fan. The Star Wars TV show that had multiple episodes was called The Acolyte. Very good, different spin on how you look at light versus dark, or is dark really dark, or is light really light. I'll leave that up to you, the consumer, if you want to go watch that. I think it's pretty good, but part of the problem is the studios have the last say so, and the studios are the streaming services also. So it's a one-stop shop for getting their content out. Disney has pulled all their content from everywhere and they put it on their services, which is behind the lock and key. And they have the right to do that, right? You know, it was only a matter of time before everybody was going to start taking their stuff off of Netflix and putting it behind their own paywalls. CBS did it, which became Paramount Plus. Paramount's getting bought by somebody else. Warner Brothers and Discovery try to team up to form their version of Ultron. It's been a total mess, really. But what is a mess is actually pretty good for consumers in the traditional sense that I should be able to go anywhere and find said movies I want to watch, maybe some nostalgic movies. It comes down to what your personal taste is. My problem is I think that because Hollywood is too close to the streaming content itself, is making for a very bad experience for me, the consumer of said content. I I don't know why the companies don't want to let something breathe. I don't know why, it needs to turn out numbers that's crazy hype the first minute it's put out on streaming services. If it doesn't get a whole lot of streams within the first 5 minutes, then they cancel it. But the thing is as a consumer, I have, I have so many things that's pulling in my attention. So it could be a very good show. I just need to get time to come around to be able to watch it. One thing I can say from a Disney standpoint is that Disney does advertise their shows coming on. Netflix not as much, unless it's like what they feel like maybe end up being a super, something that's good. Like let's say Orange is the New Black. Let's see. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, my good person, but thank you. I want to say thank you. I greatly appreciate it. But I want to say this as a person who's kind of gone through multiple iterations of technology when it came to watching movies. You know, you had regular television over broadcast, then you had VHS, then you had DVDs, and then now you have streaming. So it's gotten easier, a lot easier to get content. The problem is there's fewer gatekeepers now, which is going to make Hollywood, I'd say, a little bit less adventurous with the purse strings. You know, they might have greenlit something from one time before and it didn't do very well, but then all of a sudden it did good on VHS. Now, everything is about instant numbers. Hey, everything got to come out quickly. You know, we need eyeballs as soon as we launch. And I don't think that it's like that. I don't think they're giving a lot of their products time to breathe to find out do really, people really want to do it or consume it. One of the biggest problems was, you know, with Disney was Marvel. My friend Aries, aka No Radio, me and him have gone back and forth about this, and I don't necessarily think that people don't want to see stories in long form. I think that the problem is trying to keep up because once you get behind, now it feels like a chore. During the pandemic, everybody was at home. People were binge watching. All of a sudden, when we were emerging away out from our homes, our appetites changed. Me and my wife, we were avid movie watchers, movie goers. We went to the movies every Sunday. So then all of a sudden the pandemic hit. We got out of habit, you know, and one of the things about habits, if you get out of habit too hard, it's hard to get back into it. There haven't really been anything good to really want to press you to go watch. So it doesn't put you back into that habit to go back and start watching stuff again. So movie studios get mad, you know, the AMC's and the what is it? The Regals and whoever your local movie theater of choice, they got to add new stuff to try to entice you to come. Now you got alcohol at movies, which I don't know why it took this long for it to happen, but they're doing everything they can to entice you to come back. The problem is people are out of habit. There's nothing good because movie studios don't want to take chances on anything, and they don't want anything to breathe. Disney went too far to the really too far to the right and put everything behind their paywall. And now, without knowing exactly what's going on in the universe, if you didn't pay for Disney Plus, you don't know what the next movie is going to be talking about, or you feel like you left behind. So it's one of those problems where we are hitting it a lot faster than I thought that we might be end up hitting it. That's just me personally. So put in the comments below. Tell me what you think. I know that I have Netflix, Disney Plus / Hulu. I got Crunchyroll because I'm an anime fan. Um, Different other things. I'm probably gonna have to start cutting back. But where do you stand at on this? How do you feel when it comes to putting your money where you want to watch, but then all of a sudden, like Netflix, not sure if one of the a fan favorite is going to actually get enough eyeballs, quote unquote, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't know hardly anybody who didn't watch that as a kid or even a semi adult in their twenties, mid 30s didn't watch that. If you didn't, you're in a whole different genre. But there's a lot of people that watched it. Was even mad when M. Night Shyamalan did his rendition, and they don't even talk about that one. They go, movie that shall not be named. But, you know, Netflix is very skittish right now. They want their money, their investment to actually work. They don't know where to put it at yet. They're sitting on a lot of money. They can make a lot of movies, but they don't want to spend the money. But tell me what you think. Do you think are we at the end of, you know, big Hollywood acts and everything's going to be kind of spoon fed to us? I think that's probably what's going to end up happening. All right, let's see. Sticking with that one, y'all might like this one. Somebody from TikTok did this was kind of funny. So when I read the article, I giggled a little bit. So, do you remember Redbox? So, remember I said earlier about the different generations of media. So, I'm old enough to have gone to Blockbuster Video, and I'm old enough to have gone to Blockbuster, rented movies, rented games from Blockbuster, and played. Uh, but now, I think we're all streaming now. The days of yesteryear are over. All DVDs are done because Redbox is just spitting them out. So it says here they're spitting out DVDs. Redbox is shutting down, and we're now getting free movies. So I think some of the kiosks that are privately run, they didn't totally turn them off, but I think probably the back end billing has been turned off. All right, so hold on. In India, people are shutting down cable TV and satellite TV services and switching to streaming services like Netflix and Amazon Prime, etc. I totally 100% agree. Because I mean, anytime you make something that's easier to use, people are going to end up using it. That's just a given. One of the biggest problems, and this is like kind of a side note, one of the reasons why DVDs are dying is because it's easier for you to get said technology in the palm of your hands. If you had to really walk around with a DVD player everywhere, you would be mad. You know, laptops don't even have DVD players on them no more. We should have saw, if you didn't see that one coming. I don't know what to say, but that's kind of the direction that we're heading in when it comes to tech. Is the more convenient you make it, the more it gets picked up by more people. So streaming is the natural evolution of where DVDs gave us higher quality. Now we got constant data rates on our phones. Hold on, let's see, Mr. Ice. As nice and conversation streaming is the price increase has slowly been converting me back to DVDs. See, here's the problem. Right? What is the breaking point? We don't know exactly what it is yet, due to the fact that for me, I don't own anything that plays DVDs anymore. It's all like memory cards. Plug it into a USB-C port, bam, I play it off that. If there's somebody, instead of had a red box and DVDs, could memory sticks be a viable option? Maybe a kiosk that just spit out a bunch of memory sticks with the movie on it. Now you got some security concerns when it comes to that, but I mean, I think that you should have a way of being able to, you know, read, write, block that from happening. But the problem that you run into is convenience versus well, yeah, it's going to be the convenience factor. It's always the convenience factor. Like, I don't BitTorrent anymore. I tried it a couple times, but the problems you run into is you get the wrong BitTorrent. You have to wait sometimes you have to wait until the whole thing downloads for you to be able to see if it's of better quality. If it's piss poor quality, now you got to go back into the BitTorrent again to find another one. You could sit around for 3-4 hours trying to find a good torrent instead of just let me watch it. Just let me look at it. And then that's been one of the things about BitTorrent. People are willing to pay. The problem is how much are you willing to pay? It comes down to a personal choice. Let's see. Carlos S. Tech, he says, I'm going to buy DVD from from hell. Hey man, I look, you could buy DVD add-ons to add to your laptop via connected via USB-C, USB-C or USB-A. But at the end of the day, I mean, unless you got this super DVD collection that a lot of people do have, older people do have DVD collections. I mean, how many times can you watch the same thing over and over? I mean, I'm just going. I'm gonna be 100% real. There's times where I might want to nostalgically go back and look at Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings because I want to be like, oh man, I'm watching, Amazon's, Ring of Power, but I want to know why this person exists, so I got to go back and look at something else. Yeah, that's because you might have bought that box set, right? And you want to get your money's worth from that box set, but you can't watch it on your phone. So when you're in the doctor's office and you want to kill some time while you're waiting for your checkup and you twiddling your thumbs, you can't watch your box set that's sitting on your counter at home. See, these are the problems that you got to solve for. Yeah, you can rip it, but then now you're walking around with hard drives in your pocket and eating up the space on your phone. So it's these trade-offs that you end up getting. You get some good, some bad. What's good for you? For me, streaming's good. I do Uber all day. For 12 hours. I'm gonna have times where it's dead, and I'm watching Hulu. That's what I do in between waiting for trips. During COVID, shoot, I caught up on my Netflix library during COVID because it was that dead. All right, so let's see. Mr. Ice says, I have the Harry Potter marathon. I just finished the Chamber of Secrets. Hey, from time to time, nostalgic works. I mean, there's old TV shows that I've watched that you can't get nowhere else except digging through some weird BitTorrent to try to find it. If I really need to, if you're a fan of The Wire, you can go on, Max to watch it. If you were a fan of see, this is where that becomes a problem, right? You want to have the marathon, but you can't do it on your own time. Because remember, WB or Warner Brothers will send those rights out to different streaming companies. Netflix will have it for a while, then it stops. Then what is it? Then Max will have it for a while, and then it stops, and then another company will have it for a while. Maybe you don't even have said streaming company that's gotten a license for that. That's 6 or 8 months when you really want to watch it, or they're all split up. Now you got the Chamber of Secrets on one platform, and you got the Deadly Hollows on another platform. Now you're jumping between platforms trying to watch this series that you want to watch. I mean, yeah, DVDs can be that deal breaker for you where you have access to it all the time, but access is what the problem is. When I start seeing people walk around with DVD cases again, maybe I might think about it. Let's see. People are buying smart TVs over normal TVs. Yes, but understand it's cheaper for them to put the smarts into the TV. I mean, it doesn't really cost them anything to add a CPU, some low grade CPU, and an Ethernet connection. That's kind of a given now. You every TV's pretty much got some type of smarts in it. The problem is the quality of. I'm not a big Roku TV fan. I don't necessarily think that they use quality stuff. I would probably do Sony, maybe LG. So let's see, my three televisions of choice, if I were going to have some type of smarts insides, would be Sony first, LG second, and maybe Vizio third. So that's kind of the hierarchy that I would go through when it comes to um, who has longevity and support. Right, Sony. I've had my Sony TV now for going on 7 years now. No, 5 years now, and the support's been pretty good. But yeah, so red boxes are dead. Long live Redbox. And the funny thing is, when I read his article, it said it's Blockbuster all over again. So for those who are not old enough to know anything about Blockbuster or had a Blockbuster card, Carlos, you know what I'm talking about, sir. You know what I'm talking about. All right. So what do we have? What do we have? All right. So I did a YouTube short and I was testing out Tesla's summing feature. So summons your car, you put your cars in a parking spot across the way. You know, you simulate the idea that it's pouring, raining outside, and you really don't want to run in that rain. You just got your hair did, if you're a woman, and you're like, "Ah, I don't want to get my shoes wet." You're gonna get wet anyway, but you don't want to get that wet. So I tried out the summons feature. Tesla is letting us try out the full self-driving right now for beta, like a beta testing again. Let's see, said big smart TVs are cheaper in shipping shopping malls. Yeah, I agree. But the full self-driving has been a point of contention for me because I'm pretty much driving my replacement around. As an Uber driver, I transport people, and I've been using Tesla's full self-driving for the last week now. And I'd used it before, so they let us try it out for the first time as our free trial in April, and they're doing it again this month. One, I don't think that they had enough uptake, and they're re-advertising this again to people. Part of the problem is it costs too much. I'm not paying $99 a year. When they first released it, it was $199. No, it's $199 a month. Now it's $99 a month. So they took off $100, and I still think it's cost too much for what you're getting when it comes to full self driving. The fact that I have to pay attention while driving beats the whole purpose of me paying you to drive me around. That just is kind of stupid. And then on top of that, you're going to take the data that the car is churning through and basically build, try to figure out a way to churn out more money from what the car is doing. So my whole premise of the matter is that as I've been testing this, the summons feature, I can see that being useful. Let's say that you've gone into the grocery store and you don't want to walk across the parking lot because you parked all the way in the back. There was no parking spaces up front. And you want your car to come too. You don't want to wield your groceries all the way to the back end of the parking lot and it's raining outside or it's snowing or whatever. I can see that being a feature that cars should be built in with. Point blank, period. But the problem is paying for said technology. And is it useful enough for you to warrant a $99 a month service fee? Because obviously I'm paying per month for this. on top of the fact that I'm paying you for the car. Um, how I don't know how other people might feel about this. That this is going to come down to totally your personal um rendition. Now, I got a lot of views. I know I didn't think I was gonna get that many views on the summons, like me summoning my vehicle to me, but I wanted to give people a look about how the technology works. That's pretty much how I am. I'm a bit of a tech nerd, but I wanted people to see, oh, this is how you do it. This is what it does. You know, to demystify said technology. But the full story is the full self-driving. Red, yeah, it's crazy. Self-drive, but your hands better be on the wheel. Right. This don't make look as a person. I understand that technology is iterative. It's small little baby steps moving towards something bigger. That's how it is. I mean, sometimes you get breakthrough moments. All of a sudden, it just has that aha moment. It's like, we solved the problem. And then all of a sudden, now you just sitting around waiting for the thing to, do its thing. Same thing about streaming. It was aha moment. Now Netflix became the biggest company, one of the biggest companies in the world. But the biggest thing about said technologies right now is because I, as an Uber driver, I'm pretty much training my replacement on this company trying to take my job. I know it seems kind of harsh, but this is the realization of being in America. I know that I have some viewers that are from other countries. This is American problem. American problem is I'm training my replacement. But I don't necessarily think that Tesla is the company that's going to end up replacing me. Granted, they do have vehicles on the road, but if you try out the self-driving feature and you drive as much as I do, you will see the problems at hand. Don't get me wrong. I think that their ability to be able to use cameras instead of a wide range of sensors could work if you can get the resolution of the cameras very good. The problem is I don't think Tesla's the one. They're too cheap. Tesla's a cheap company. They went and put cheap cameras in the cars. They're not opting for, 100 megapixel cameras that's on these cars. They probably getting 5, 6 megapixels at best. And they're probably getting them in bulk. They're probably Sony sensors that were being left over that nobody wanted. And they're understand you have people's lives that you have in your hands inside of your software. And the fact that I gotta pay Tesla $99 a month to keep my hands on the wheel, like my man, like the person just said. Here you go. Like I gotta pay you $99 a month for me to keep my hand on the wheel when I could just go ahead and just set the cruise control and keep my hand on the wheel in the first place. What's the difference between the two? There's nothing. I gotta pay attention regardless. The whole idea behind self-driving is to alleviate the concerns of the driver down to the point that they don't really have to do anything. Now, do I think that you can accomplish that through freeway driving? There's a lot more work that needs to be done in the aspect of driving on the freeway, because even driving on the freeway is not without its inherent problems. The inherent problems you run into is the ability of these cameras to pick up debris and objects on the road. I mean, I just talked with a lady last night. Her car got totaled by a deer. I've seen plenty of deer driving my car. The cameras don't even pick it up at all because they haven't been trained on what does a deer look like. So, and then on top of that, this This is not a stock price show. I'm not. I'm just saying that I'm using this as an informational standpoint of showing what the inherent problems are going to be. But I do have to say it like this: Elon came out and kind of told the truth, which was kind of bad for him, and he ended up losing like almost $100 billion as soon as he told the truth, which everybody already knew what the truth was, but nobody wanted to say it. They didn't want to say the quiet part out loud. So the quiet part out loud was, oh, hardware 3 might not be capable as they would like for it to be, and therefore all of a sudden the stock dropped. The problem is people want reliability. That's what it is. If I'm going to pay you money, your product needs to be reliable. And now you're going to tell me that the money I spent on in 2019, 2018, 2017 when the Model 3 came out means nothing now. Rightfully so. You could have said, "Hey, look, you know what? This is an ongoing process. We're going to be moving forward. We're going to be changing stuff from time to time. You're buying your car as is. Charge if you want to charge a service fee, let it be like $20 or $30 a month." But you had people who had bought these cars and they were paying $199 a month. Some people paid out 15 grand in the early days. Early days when you were touting around saying that, hey, full self-driving, full stack, all the hot buzzwords. They invested early. They don't get nothing. You're not going to upgrade them. You're not going to make them whole. That's terrible customer service. That's how I look at it anyway. But I don't necessarily see Tesla as being the company that takes us forward. There's too many little things about driving that the company's overlooking. Let's see. Almighty God bless you and will save your job. Hey, it's the American way, man. Hey, that's kind of what it is. The American way. But the overall idea of this right now, especially when it comes to it, and the reason why I'm talking about it again because I'm probably going to end up doing another video showing the updates. Has it improved? Have there been improvements? Yes, but the improvements are mediocre at best. I call it more the car is mimicking a driver, not learning how to drive. You know, one of the things I don't think a lot of people quite understand what Tesla's doing is the cars all talk back to the base. If you look at a Waymo, a lot of other companies, I'm using Waymo as an example because they're probably going to be the one that's going to replace me. They're closer to it than anybody else. But the way that Waymo works is their fleet of cars go out. They're always mapping where they're going regardless. And they update everything in the background so the other cars don't fall victim to something else. Teslas are doing something like that on the back end, but they're using every single car to do it. And they're trying to learn how to drive via the bad drivers. Case in point, using as a case. We have speed cameras in Washington, D.C. I used to work on speed cameras. I'm a little impartial. Maybe you or a person like yourself like the idea of speeding and not get caught. I can't say yay or nay on it. But speed does kill. You get some reckless driver that don't know how to drive, that wants to drive fast, thinking driving fast is the way to go. And then they hit a bump wrong, they hit the curve wrong, they speeding when it's raining outside, and they slide into you. Now, his problem become your problem. That's kind of how I look at it. But we have speed cameras, and because everybody slams on brakes at the speed camera, guess what Tesla vehicles do? They slam on brakes at the speed camera. All you got to do is just do the speed limit. I don't want my car to drive like bad drivers when I know how to drive myself. That's the problem that Tesla's running into. It's trying to learn the road through people driving, but I don't want the car to drive like other people. I want it to drive me safely down the road. These are the problems that I don't think that Tesla's going to understand because they're too far in on what they're trying to do. Even coming down to picking the lane to be in, they aggregate so much data that they go, oh, everybody likes to be in the right hand lane. But then all of a sudden there's an object in the right hand lane. You just put me in the path of a problem. That's not driving. That is you're mimicking and you don't realize what it takes to actually do said problem or solve the problem of quote unquote driving. But I'm gonna try to update more about this with my free trial. I'm gonna probably put another video out. I need to start putting out the video and the build number because depending on how much people want to know about it, I'm gonna give my full throated, honest answer, honest opinion about Tesla. And I'm not a big Tesla fan, so if you come to my channel thinking that I'm going to sing Tesla praises, you might want to go ahead and leave. I don't want to disappoint you. I'm gonna tell you the truth about the car, and I don't think that the cars are very good. As an electric driving platform, I like it. As a car, I hate it. I tell that to all my Uber customers that ask me when they get in my car, what do you think about this car? I hate it. I bought this car even though I knew I would hate it. That lets you know how far I needed to go at when being an Uber driver. Efficiency was the name of the game. But that's enough of that rant. Let's see. Let's see. All right. I like this one. When it comes to little helpful gadgets, I am a nerd about little helpful gadgets. My father spends a lot of time outside cutting grass, and if I can get my hands on this, he would be overjoyed. Overjoyed. So I use a solar panel hat to charge my Galaxy S24, and here's what happened. I think that this is a very nifty thing to have, especially people who spend a lot of time outside. They do yard work. You just outside to be outside, and a lot of times you might be where you can't have a extension cord follow you around. Let's see. He said, "What is my car's name?" Oh, my car's name is Lala. You know, men name their cars females. Men name their cars females' names. I think women name their cars male names if they do end up naming their cars. So it's so weird. That's a weird thing about us, about human beings. We give inanimate objects names. Even as a kid, you had a bear with a name. I forget my pet bear's name. Maybe I've gotten too old. But I think that this is going to be very helpful for anybody who works outside. I mean, you spend a lot of time outside. It's not so much you become a go-go gadget. It's more along the lines of you want functional things to still be able to be functional. If like what is it? My wife has a new coat and she works in a warehouse and she needs to be staying warm. Well, the coats now have a heater built in. You charge up the battery pack, bam, you got a heater inside of your coats. The problem is charging said devices. These are going to be the new problems. You're going to have all these gadgets. Shoes going to be lighting up. How do you get power to them? This is one way of doing it. Put solar panels inside of a sun hat. Now the sun hat is not only blocking the sun, but it's also supplying power to your phone. I think this is just a nifty little thing. I'm gonna see if I can try to find it for my father. He cuts a lot of grass. He's retired. That's his gig. That's what he likes to do. He loves spending time outside. What better way than to allow him to stay cool under the sun and make some nifty electricity at the same time? Let's see. He said, "How much you spend on mobile carriers every month?" Oh, just saying that sentence, man, makes me depressed. Um, I would say I probably anywhere between like $300 to $500, maybe close. Which, like I said, I'm trying to get this YouTube channel off the ground because I do think that a lot of people want to know what services are around them, and there's nobody that really can truly show what a service looks like in the area that they live in because they don't really know. I picked up. I was talking to this one gentleman today, and he had AT&T. He switched from T-Mobile to AT&T, and all of a sudden now AT&T is acting real bad for him in the area. So people need knowledge to be able to make decisions. And like for me, I have all three. So, well, I have a Verizon line, I have an AT&T line, and then I have 5 T-Mobile lines. So all in all, my bill comes out to being about, let's see, 2, 3, almost 450, 480 in just cell phones. Don't tell my wife though. It's part of our budget. She don't like it. But for the most part, I've pretty much mapped the DC area. I go back home, back and forth to North Carolina. I can see kind of how that region is starting to turn out, and it's getting better. Hey, look, it's an expense that I have to occur. It's an expense that I have to occur to try to make videos. It's a cost of making videos. Not many people are going to have all 3 carriers. And then on top of that, you want to inform, people about how their phone is working, how it performs underneath certain conditions. Maybe what you're seeing might be normal, or is it normal what you're seeing? You don't know. All of a sudden, you turn on you go to do run a video, and it starts buffering. You don't know. You might have hit a spot where it's congested, but you might not know exactly what procedures to go through and see. Is it a coverage issue? Is it a data session issue? Is it just a whole bunch of people on the network issue? Sometimes you got to go, I guess this spot is bad. So for me, I incur this cost with the hope and prayers that a lot of people might end up watching my videos and seeing if that information helps them. Let's see. It is wasting your money. You could save your money. Yes, I could, but then I wouldn't have fun. Granted, I feel like YouTube, with YouTube being very challenging to do, I look at it more as a investment. I have a chance that I see a lot of people that comment on my videos, and I see a chance that people look at my videos, they get curious about things, they ask me questions, and I genuinely want to help people with your decision. I mean, if I'm in a position where I can get some knowledge out to somebody, I don't necessarily look at it as being a waste of money. For me, it gives me a chance to experiment and try new things. And for somebody else, you get a chance to see my experiments, and maybe it helps you or helps somebody else. That's how I kind of look at it. Plus, it gives you a level of insight on when you start reading these articles, like I'm getting ready to pull up in just a moment. with T-Mobile, right? This has been my last story, but this is the one of the bigger things that's been happening in the cellular industry this week. So T-Mobile is giving up spectrum. They're giving up radio waves. Hold on, let's pull it up. So Phone Arena, I got when I originally initially read this article. This was on Light Reading, so different publications are reporting on this. Um, T-Mobile is turning over their spectrum, their fast 5G spectrum back to the FCC. Now, there's been a point of contention amongst the speed testing community. So I'm going to give you my straight up opinion. I believe that this is a very smart play for T-Mobile, and I'm gonna give you my reason why. The reason why that I think that this is a very smart play for them is sometimes following the pack is not always a path to win, and the whole idea is to win. Regardless if there's no end in sight, you still want to be ahead of your competitors. So T-Mobile turning in spectrum that they can't use is going to be puts them in a stronger position than their competitors. That's how I look at it. Hold on, it says a Uber driver should not do things. I feel very bad because U.S. telcos costs are high. Yes, they are high, but here's the thing. Especially with that statement, here's the thing. It is a far cry from what it was before. Understand? Imagine paying $100 a month for data buckets. So Verizon, AT&T would have been happy to put you in a data bucket with your friends and family, and all of a sudden, hey, oh, you went over that. Now let's upcharge you more, and let's charge you more, and let's charge you more. T-Mobile and Sprint had unlimited data, and if they did not come together like they did, Verizon and AT&T would have been still running rampant with data buckets. That is a fact. If it wasn't for the fact that the lower guys were trying to at least make better profits off of the slow but steady, AT&T and Verizon would have ran away with the whole industry. That is my personal analysis of said telco industry. Let's see here. You also talking about the other news that came out. So AT&T's 50 megahertz of 4.9. Okay, on that subject, rolling that in, I'm gonna talk. I'll say something on it real quick. So 50 megahertz of 4.9. I don't necessarily think that is a very big. If you told me it was 500 megahertz, oh, I think that AT&T was got bribed some people. But 50 megahertz, understand where we are today in the telco range. We are in a data hungry network scenario. Okay, 50 megahertz in today's network. Maybe if it was 50 megahertz in 4G, then you could say that AT&T got a great handout. But underneath today's 5G, I don't really see that as being a very compelling amount of spectrum. Even if it was 100, then yes, it would be game changing for the network because AT&T's network is very split. So to elaborate on that, AT&T's has a lot of spectrum. They don't have a lot of spectrum capacity. So they got band, I can't even go down the whole list of all the bands they have, but they almost got every band. They exist on almost every single band. But the problem is you have but so much weight that you could put on a cell tower. Cell towers are weight limited. You can't go and stick an antenna for every single bit of spectrum that you have. You have to consolidate some. You got to make priority the others. Which one is going to be better for this scenario versus that scenario? AT&T has a bigger problem on its hands than a Verizon or a T-Mobile. So another 50 megahertz, yes, would be good for FirstNet if that's all you're going to end up using it for. But they're not going to try to use it for just FirstNet. They're going to try to incorporate that into their own network, which is already crowded with DoD, C-band, some other loose spectrum they already have. And each one of these right now currently has to have an antenna that corresponds with it. That's what I don't think a lot of people quite understand. That 50 megahertz is going to be a dedicated antenna that broadcasts that out until they can come up with combo antennas to be able to offload a lot of the weight. Let's see. He said Joel and Altel both are totally monopolies in India market. Yes. See, the problem is it comes down to resources. It always comes down to how much resources a company is going to have to be able to deploy. And then on top of that, market share. You know, when you have monopolies by two companies, they look at their counterparts across the aisle and go, "Hey, you stay on your side, I stay on mine." That's kind of how the American market was before the Sprint and T-Mobile merger. So before the merger, Verizon and AT&T never looked at each other at all. So me personally, I think that the American market is more competitive now than it's ever been. Let's see. U.S. needs more towers in small towns and rural areas. Okay, so then you're describing as the problem is local municipalities want to get paid, and this rolls back into this subject of T-Mobile giving up their millimeter wave spectrum. Where I think that T-Mobile's focusing on is they're focusing on mid-band and low-band. We haven't even seen what we can do yet with 5G network slicing. We don't even know what the possibilities can be unlocked by that alone by itself. I know that other YouTubers, I watch my good friend Sneed, and I disagree with him when it comes to this subject right here. I disagree with them respectively because millimeter wave requires an investment that maybe T-Mobile's not ready to do. And why try to be something you're not? There's no reason to actually do it if you realize there's going to be more capital than what it's worth. Verizon has money. They got pockets. In the 4G, 3G side, Verizon was the GOAT. They had deep pockets. They can walk into a government company, government agency, and be like, "Hey, look, we Verizon. Give us money." T-Mobile 5G is their foundation right now, and they're making a foundational choice of, hey, let's get the cellular side and the low band and the mid band perfect before you start trying to play the infrastructure game, because that's what's going to take to put millimeter wave down. It's infrastructure. And I think that's the dividing difference that we're seeing between the telcos right now here in America. AT&T is somewhere in the middle. They don't know which side to really play on, which is why, like in my testing, AT&T is like always been the less performative. T-Mobile is going low band, mid band. Verizon is going mid band, high. And this is a fundamental difference between the two companies now, which me personally is going to be interesting to watch. Verizon approach is to get down to the local municipality level, like you just said. I wish I could pronounce your name. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say PAL because that was the last word at the end of your name. But basically, small towns, rural America. It takes infrastructure to build. And don't add the fact that local municipalities push back because they want to get paid. They might not even have any reason why you shouldn't be there, all because they just want money out of your pocket. These are problems that a lot of people don't really talk about either. So it's one of those things where it takes time. And low band and mid band are the ones that gives you more range, where millimeter wave requires you to be very close to people. I understand. I think that millimeter wave as a technology is fundamentally game changing. The problem is it came out too soon. It came out too soon. 5G needed a base to work from. Millimeter wave is not that base. It's not one of those things where it's it's easy to solve the problem. It's going to be harder to solve this problem because of the fact that you have to put millimeter wave nodes everywhere. I mean, like overlapping coverage everywhere. Your phone bouncing from cell site to cell site, which AKA means your phone bouncing from millimeter wave node to millimeter wave node, has to be very efficient. And if not, the handoffs are going to be too. The handoffs on your phone is going to kill your battery, and that's the long and short of it. I mean, you can offset that by being latched onto midband, but the whole purpose is to be able to get access to that higher speed as often as possible. I don't want to have to be standing still just to be able to get access to higher speed. What if I'm driving 100 miles an hour down the freeway? I want to still be connected to millimeter wave. Is that going to require a millimeter wave node every 100 feet? That's an investment that maybe a T-Mobile doesn't see themselves being able to do at this time. Maybe Verizon can do it, but T-Mobile, I don't think they can. I mean, they're technically just now trying to dip their toes into cable, into fiber. Let's see. Today's smartphones, another important human organ of every person across the world. Do you agree with this? I think so. The cell phone has become what computers were in the '90s, where it became very important that everybody would end up getting a computer in their home. Now it's important that everybody has some type of cell phone or knowledge grabber. If you want to take it all the way back, being able to get a knowledge grabber and put it at their fingertips. You might not have every answer in the book, but you can find a way to get the answer for whatever conversation you're having. I mean, that's the beauty of it. That's just me personally. I think that cell phones are now at that point, but the problem is now cell phones are boring. So how much do you upgrade your phone? I mean, me as a person who tries to buy every phone, it is very costly. And then if I wasn't doing a YouTube channel, I probably wouldn't upgrade my phone even half as often. I'm going on eBay trying to find deals. I'm doing this. I'm probably going to have to go to pawn shops maybe to find a way to, complete this habit set at the lowest price I possibly can. But a lot of people keep their phones for 4 or 5 years. So it's about the turnover. But I think that this has been a very power move, a big power move on T-Mobile's part by turning over Spectrum. It really shows that their dedication to whatever direction they want to go in. Maybe you don't like the direction. Maybe you're like, hey, this is a stupid move. But guess what? Now we're going to actually see the two companies basically diverge in directions. T-Mobile's going mid-band and low band, and Verizon's going mid-band and high. But it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to turn out. I think that T-Mobile's approach is better. I think that this is going to be game changing, especially once they start implementing network slicing. I don't think that enough of us have seen the possibilities of network slicing to be able to count it out just yet. But they're working on it. I know that I've seen some hints to it, some screen grabs showing performance, but I'm eager to be able to test it myself. But that is it for this week. I would like to say thank y'all for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Remember that the community X slash Twitter is where you can offer up some compelling articles to talk about. Make sure you tag both Community Tech One, Community Tech C1, and Keon81. Also, that way you ping my phone twice, because these are linked to my phone. That when I'm driving around, I have access to my phones while I'm driving. Of course, I do it safely. But if you want to be part of the community, you can join the membership. Maybe it might be a little too soon, but I'm going to go ahead and just advertise that out now. But right now, I'm working on the Discord to be able to link between the Discord and my membership. That way that you have a community to join into and be part of. You can submit some articles, maybe even vote them down, whatever you see me post, and have a chance to have some type of influence on which direction the channel goes into. There's a lot of things that I might have missed. I know there's some people out there that like to talk about AI. I dabble in it from time to time, depending on how big the news actually ends up getting. Other people like software. I'm not a big software guy. I'm more a hardware guy. But I'm not saying that I am not open to maybe somebody who's a software engineer that wants to come up and educate some people. You never know. But thank y'all for watching, and y'all have a good one.